friends. Today, I'm going to give you the soup to nuts journey of transforming this mirror into a shipwrecked treasure. This is going to be a multi-step, multi-day process that is going to monopolize my entire living room. So, preparation and protection of my furnishings is key. This wonderful solid wood mirror came from the Habitat Restore for a whopping $10. What a bargain! So this is another example where we get to reduce, recycle, reuse, and I also got to utilize other single-use plastics and other garbage in this process, as you will see. My go-to stripper is CitriStrip. It smells pretty nice. It doesn't irritate my eyes or set off my asthma. It doesn't make my skin fall off or rot if I get it on my skin. It doesn't ruin my clothing if I get some on my clothing. So that's been really great. And it also removes paint and varnish. So my technique is to slather a nice thick layer of CitriStrip all over the surface that I want to strip. And then I put thin plastic on top of it so that it stays gooey and moist as long as possible. I try to keep the CitriStrip wet and in contact with whatever I'm trying to strip for 12 to 24 hours at least. Another tip that I have learned over the years is if the CitriStrip does dry out on the surface, it'll look kind of chalky. So I just get like a spray bottle and just spritz it and it sort of reactivates it. I cover it with the plastic again and let it just keep doing its job. So after the stripper has been working hard for 12 to 24 hours, it is time for me to get an arm workout. I remove the plastic. Some of the paint or the varnish sometimes will stick onto the plastic that I put on it. That's great. And then just throw it away. And then I get out a scraping tool like a putty knife or a paint tool and just get to work scraping the wood. Now, I am not trying to do a historical preservation on this object. I am trying to weather it and have it be kind of beat up. So it's totally fine for me to gouge it and scratch it a little bit in this process. I wasn't being precious. I wasn't being overly careful other than making sure that I didn't damage the actual glass of the mirror. So first step was I scraped with my scraping tool, and then I got after it with a wire brush and just brushed the hell out of it. This is another opportunity to use the water bottle and just spritz it to reactivate the CitriStrip and to get all of the old gunk off. And it just takes time. It takes time. So once I have removed all of the old varnish and I'm satisfied that the raw naked wood is exposed, then I let it completely dry and not be moist anymore. Then I get after it with the sandpaper. I didn't go down to a really fine sandpaper because, again, I want this to be weathered and kind of beaten up. So I used a fairly coarse grit sandpaper to get everything else cleaned up off of the mirror. Now for the fun part, iron buff. For full details about how we make iron buff and use iron buff, see our YouTube video. Moving on, I use a tack cloth to wipe down the entire frame of the mirror to remove any residual dust, and then I place a bunch of junk on it because I want to funk it up. I put some coins on there. I put some steel wool on there. I put some rusted metal on there because I want to have a variety of reactions and a variety of textures once I brush on the iron buff. And I gotta say, once I brushed it on, I was pleasantly surprised by the super strong, immediate chemical reaction that happened with the iron buff and this particular wood. Woo! It just was partying with those tannins, and it had a blast. Super exciting. I gave the iron buff a chance to dry and fully cure and finish its chemical reaction for about 10 to 12 hours, and then I removed all of the crap that I had covered the mirror frame with, And ooh, my, beautiful, beautiful, so gorgeous. There was a lot of variation, some rust. The coins had done some really interesting things. It was great, but I'm not stopping there. I didn't want the frame to stay this dark. I wanted it to look as if it had been washed up on a beach, that it was sun bleached, that it was driftwood, that it was maybe just encrusted with salt and had had all the color sucked out of it. So I watered down some white acrylic paint and just did a white wash over the whole frame. And all of the beautiful patinas and textures that we had achieved still shone through and had even more variety of colors and nuance. Fabulous! Now it's time for barnacles! To see full details of how we achieved barnacles, see our Barnacle How We YouTube video. To summarize, first I start assembling barnacles and attaching them to the mirror with both glue and anchors. I wanted to make sure to really support the weight of the barnacles, so I used screws in addition to glue. And after I've assembled all of my barnacle shapes, then I add the zillions of tiny clay barnacle balls. And then after those barnacle balls have dried, I come at it with caulk and I fill all of the little nooks and crannies that are the egg crates and that are where it meets the frame and where the little barnacle balls are attached, just making it feel cohesive. After that, then we do the wash of a deeper purple is what I chose for this color story. Then, after that has dried, I use iron buff to go into all the little nooks and crannies and create more variation and patina. Then, I come at it with white antiquing wax to both waterproof and brighten up the look of the barnacles. Finally, I seal the entire mirror frame with a clear wax. I hit the barnacles as well as the wood. This frame is going to be living in a bathroom, so I wanted it to be resistant to moisture. And I could not be more thrilled with how it turned out. I'm just so excited. It is a real showpiece, and I hope that it's inspired you to create something really funky. Be sure to like, share, comment, and tell us about your successes or struggles with a project of this type. Hope to hear from you. Bye!